At the peak of the Druid skill tree, we have the 2 damage skills that, as of 2.4, are able to be used while shapeshifted to create builds like the Armageddon Wolf or the Hurricane Bear, or even the Armageddon Bear or Hurricane Wolf if you're so inclined. This change, specifically for Hurricane, is not earth-shattering, but it does open up a few new build possibilities. The reason this is especially significant is due to the ability to pair these with more Druid-themed weapon choices such as tools like Windhammer for the wind side and Earthshaker for the fire side, though these are far from the only pairings that can take advantage of the oddities of the hybrid shapeshifter builds. In addition to this, they both still have their uses for pure caster builds, especially since, even as a caster, the Druid tends to prefer staying in close to about mid-range due to the randomness of many of his abilities. This was at least made a bit smoother in the transition for Armageddon thanks to the removal of the Hurricane prerequisite, so you're free to choose wind or fire to focus on without needing to grab side skills. This is extra handy since splitting elements here would greatly limit your damage output. That out of the way, both the skills act similar in that they're fire and forget skills, being able to be cast and having a consistent effect over a period of time determined by your, synergy investment, with the base duration being fairly short but not unmanageable. Starting with the fire side, we have Armageddon, which, while less consistent than Hurricane thanks to it relying on RNG to hit, can still deal out a decent bit of damage, especially with the increased missile spawn rate and area of effect on each explosion. Though since it is another skill with the split damage curse, it won't scale as hard as you wish it would, though since it deals physical and fire damage, it still can usually serve a solid role in dealing with single immunes. Now, there are generally 2 strategies with this skill, one being to face tank enemies and just use short-range powerhouses like Firestorm while human or Fireclaws while shapeshifted, all while just soaking their damage and letting the area of effect of Armageddon deal with the crowd as best it can while you focus fire on the major threats with your more damaging point-blank skills. The other strategy is similar to Blaze strategies, kiting enemies while letting the Armageddon meteors land around you, generally resulting in a trail of damage behind you. This usually works best if you have a long straight path, but it's still fairly effective in less ideal situations. Barring this, you can get a sort of in-between effect by kiting in circles, but it's still a little less consistent. Moving over to the wind side, I usually only recommend the face tanking strategy because it pairs so well with Tornado and Twister in point-blank confrontations. This is mostly because, unlike Armageddon, Hurricane deals its damage in its radius consistently, with no RNG involved. So kiting an enemy is no more effective than face tanking them just to get the damage to land. In terms of the shapeshifted strategies for Hurricane, builds like the Fireclaw Druid can give you a solid tri-elemental option provided you have a weapon with enough base physical damage, as well as providing an option for Shockwave Druids to keep things stunned and chip them down regularly with the cold damage. Though personally, my favorite is still the Human Caster thanks to being able to pair it with Enigma for telestomping. As you can probably tell by the strategies, both of these skills are powerful, but designed for support of other builds, and should generally be looked at as such since they give you the extra damage to round out your build, but are only rarely your main damage source. So, do you use these area of effect skills, or do you prefer the more direct damage options earlier in the tree? Mention it down below, and as always, keep gaming, have fun, and peace out. This has been Alzorath. Bye.